Good morning, Big Brother Hometown's Viewing Lounge and our Facebook page. I'm CLC, and this is another edition of Morning Tea with CLC, where we spill everything BBH 14. It is now currently day 13 in the house, so we're here to discuss all the shenanigans in day 12, where we ultimately see someone leave in 13th, and we see one of the most, I'd say enduring comps that these people have ever faced across 14 seasons of this game, and it's wearing on people, and things are slipping, and things are getting messy. But I'm not here alone to discuss craziness. I'm bringing him in. I don't know who this person is. It's Phil Moore.
From BBH Studios in Universal Studios, Florida, it's time for the fastest, craziest, most virtual game on television. It's BBH Arcade! And here's your host, Phil Moore!
I don't know who Phil Moore is.
He was the host of Nick. And I meant to do this as well. He was the host of Nick Arcade, our new show.
Can't wait wait, is it? Oh, this is BB. I was gonna say, like,
did you ever watch Nick Arcade? You're probably a little younger than Nick Arcade, but
yeah, no, I grew up in like the guts, I remember
Nick Arcade was maybe a year before those things.
Yeah.
It was really good. It was just it was a video game show where kids would come on and play arcade games, but then the bonus round was this cool virtual reality game where they would go inside the video game and it was really cool.
Interesting. Well, it'll all make sense for those who aren't paying attention to what's going on in the house right now. This will all make sense at the end of our morning tea session. Nick Arcade was my game show. Eric, I'm sorry. I had a fucked up childhood. Okay, wasn't watching fucking Nick Arcade. If my mom was watching this, I didn't have a fucked up childhood. She's not watching this.
No, is your mom in the Facebook group? That'd be funny.
Hell no.
What does your mom know about orgs?
Not much at all. She knows that I played a mole one last year, which I did, and I got 5th, nasty. And then she knows I played Endure, and she knows that I lost poorly and then adopted my dog in sadness. And she told me to stop playing, and I told her I would. It didn't.
Narrator, he didn't.
Yeah, no, did not. But it's been better for me. Literally, after the 4-month break after adopting Bo and taking my break from Endure, orgs have been pretty great to me. Can't lie.
Yeah.
So I mean, I did the right thing. Mom can chillax. I just can't lose badly again and adopt another dog. That's really the
right.
But enough about me and Nick Arcade. Let's hop right into the shenanigans. Let's start with the man who I think gets a little too bored in his mornings and really just wants to stir shit up, and that's Jabbar. Today was an easy vote, and Jabbar said, no. The easy vote can be the easy vote, but I'm going to stir up shit. He decides, because he is getting pegged with these plague doctors, which was the 5-person alliance from day one, which was Abby, Daniel, RT, Tommy, and Jabbar. He's like, fuck it. No, I want this broken apart. I want this done. I want this storyline over with. So he starts telling different people that someone was leaking to Nikki about the plague doctors and saying that they were going to target Jabbar at the immediate start of jury. So basically he's trying to, if anyone's targeting him, to make everyone feel like, oh, it's not your idea. It was this person. It was all these plague doctors' ideas who none of y'all like. So if you're targeting me, you're doing their bidding, not your own bidding, which I guess it's a smart idea, but it really gains no traction, and he's just lying to lie.
There's a lot of lying to lie. I've never seen in my 14 seasons of hosting such blatant I am lying. I am lying. I'm just going to go. Sorry, I saw Mitchell's comment. We'll get there. Don't worry. Yeah, just Tommy in confessional was I just had to go start lying like crazy. Jabbar literally, we say you woke up and chose violence. He woke up, came to his diary room and said, hey guys, this is what I'm going to do. Do I have a real reason to do it? Sure. and then just like, all right, here we go, and goes off and starts lying. Like, it's funny, it's entertaining. Like, it's the good messy. It's not like I'm not annoyed by it. Sometimes I feel like I'd be annoyed by this kind of thing, but for whatever reason, like I'm just enjoying that this is happening. This moment from Jabbar. Tommy's lying is a different story, which we can get to. But Jabbar lying just so blatantly and just saying, I'm going, like, seeking out lying. It's not like in the game, sometimes you have to lie when you're confronted with a situation or whatever. But he just sought it out. He said, I'm going to leave here and go lie. And it's just funny.
Yeah, I mean, every day I wake up going, what will Jabbar do next? I always tune into all his live confessionals. For those in the Discord, check them out. I think one got posted this morning. It's always, like, he's always thinking. He's always overthinking, which is never a bad thing. Like, I go back to Dan and BBH11. Like, sometimes thinking a lot about the game isn't necessarily a bad thing. Keeping you on your toes at all times isn't necessarily a bad thing.
It's a little bit of I mean, my favorite Survivor player. It's a little bit of Tony energy in the sense of like I'm just going to go make this stuff up and see what sticks, and it worked for him. So we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, hell, it worked twice for this man.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. I'm sorry. If you've not seen the seasons that Tony has won, that's on you at this point. I'm sorry. Like, it's been a year and some change since he won his last one. So this is on you. Let's move into the other liar in the house for no godforsaken reason, and that's Tommy. Tommy starts the day on the block versus Lance, and is starting off the day strong. Like, he's around. He is campaigning. He spent the last night campaigning in day 11, and Lance is just not around, which maybe isn't necessarily a bad thing for Lance, considering Lance is not the best with words. Via text, I should say. Lance is actually spending more time asking others about Tommy and his pitch than actually pitching to other people, which I find really intriguing. Like, he's going around being like, hey, like, how's the vote going? What's Tommy saying? It's like, Lance, pitch to people.
Yeah.
Like, if you're concerned that you might not have the votes, this is your time to explain why you should stay and why Tommy should go. But let's get into Tommy's unnecessary lies. All of day 11, Tommy was saying he's going to target Ryan Taylor. He's going to target Jabbar. He's going to maybe have some pawns in the mix. What was it? I don't even know who all his pawns were. I think Erica was thrown up as a pawn. Abby, AJ. There were tons of people that he was throwing up on the block if he was to come into power. And of course, it makes its way back to Jabbar via Courtney, and then back to Ryan via Jabbar. And they're not too happy about it. They confront Tommy, and he's like, I would never say that. I would never say that. No. Let's talk about Tommy's pitch.
So I applaud the effort. We woke up I woke up yesterday morning. I checked the Discord. I rolled over in bed, checked the Discord, and all of a sudden, you and Mitchell and some others are like, Tommy might pull this off. Tommy might stay. But then I immediately did some quick digging, and one of the first things that Tommy was doing was adamantly denying the plague doctors, which wasn't the move because it was just confirmed by so many people, including, most importantly, Jabbar, a member of the plague doctors. And so that just if there was ever hope for him to pull off this vote flip, that to me was the lie he needed to not. What he needed to do, what I think he needed to do in terms of the plague doctors, is deny its seriousness, deny how important it is to their game, to his game, because I think in his mind it was more important than it was in reality. But yeah, you got to say things like, it's real, but I have no loyalty to them. This means nothing. I don't mind the pitches of targeting RT or Jabbar or whoever he wants to, whatever names from the plague doctors he wants to throw out. Maybe he should have thrown out names like Abby and Daniel. But I don't mind those things, whether true or not. To me, it's the denying the existence of the plague doctors wasn't quite the move.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of many problems with his pitches that ultimately catches up with him. Courtney, a queen. I mean, you rarely see this in games where, someone's calling you to pitch their case to stay and why they should do it, and the other person just directly tells you no. Like you typically say like, oh, the votes aren't there, and they wait to the last minute. Tommy calls Courtney about like 2 hours before the eviction, and she goes, "You lied to me yesterday. I came to you wanting to save you, and you just lied about the plague doctor." She's like, "I have no trust in you." Like, she just lays it all out in the line, and this is the epitome as to why Tommy, spoiler alert, Tommy gets evicted unanimously on day 12, is because of things like this. It's lying about the plague doctors. It's his inconsistent targets that are circulating the house. Like, you can't tell everyone you're targeting Jabbar and Ryan, and they come to you and you go, "Oh, no, my targets are actually X, Y, and Z." They're obviously going to go tell X, Y, and Z that now you're targeting them all of a sudden.
Right.
Like, if this was a shorter round, this maybe might not have exposed as early, but when it's a 3-day cycle in the pre-jury phase, it kind of what bites Tommy here.
Yeah, I applaud the effort. There were moments where we thought throughout the day the tides could turn, like maybe even though these lies are catching up. Because to me, there's a lot of people that really could have benefited from Tommy staying around, lies or not. Like, I think that those are things you got to look past when you know that someone is up against the wall. Now, am I going to rake people over the coals for evicting Tommy here? No, but I do think that there are people that could have benefited from keeping Tommy around. Even especially if Tommy was willing, he probably wasn't willing to target people in the plague doctors, but he might have if more information kind of got around about how, the plague doctors is leaking from Jabbar, and that's an easy person to target. Anyway, I think there's ways that this could have benefited people for Tommy to stay. I just think that too many lies caught up with him, and that's too easy for people to see and say, well, there's no way I can trust you. Lands is, as the other option, is not that enticing to vote out. And so I'm just going to stick to what the House wants, quote unquote.
Yeah, and that's what we end up seeing is this argument of people like the flip voters, the voters who actually were intrigued by Tommy and really thought there was a benefit to him staying because he would target those kind of middle ground players like Ryan and Jabbar, and that's Erica, Angelica, and Robert. And ultimately they do use this just, the votes just aren't there argument, even though they absolutely could decide the vote if they wanted to, because Daniel and Abby fully want Tommy to stay. Those 3 votes would flip the House, but ultimately I think the lies is why they just defer to this argument of, sorry, the votes just aren't there and we can't do anything about it.
And I also want to look at it from Abby and Daniel's point of view, because the other night in the mess report, you guys talked over and over again about how Tommy going was really good for Abby and Daniel. And while I see that and agree in a lot of ways, I also don't fully agree that it was best for their game, because Tommy was super loyal to them, and anytime you lose someone that's really loyal to you, that is bad. Their position in the House was the unfortunate part, but Abby's like when in season 10, we've talked about this a lot, when Mitchell, Bradley, and Abby were this trio, it did not benefit. It really didn't benefit Bradley to lose. Now, granted, he lost 2 of them at once. I don't think he would have benefited him. Yeah, he got a couple more rounds because now he has lost them, but he also had Jenny on the other side working for him a little bit. I just don't think it's great. Having a trio that's super strong is super helpful, and now Abby and Daniel are left really, really, really scrambling from the bottom. Now being primary targets, and there's only 2 of you. When there's 3 of you, that gives you leeway in terms of nominations and all these things. But now when there's only 2 of you, you're in real danger, and I don't think losing Tommy helps their position.
I'm coming at it from a perspective of it's not necessarily great for their game by itself, but by losing Tommy, it forces them to have to fucking branch out. These 2 really found themselves at the bottom of this House and still are, because of their undying allegiance to Tommy, who has proven to be an unnecessary liar in this game.
Right.
And he's a comp threat. a lot of other things. And even, I mean, I look at someone like Daniel, like even his number one alliance in Jabbar and Courtney got really fed up today because he continuously kept defending Tommy despite Jabbar and Courtney being like, we want him gone. Jabbar especially, he's like, he's going around saying he's going to put me up, and you still want to save him. He's like, where is your allegiance? Is it to Tommy or is it to me? And they really kind of get fed up, and that's where I'm saying it's like just accepting defeat here is going to go so much better than trying to fight for this man to stay. Because it got to a point where it's like the votes were not there. And yes, Daniel and Abby eventually do vote in the majority, but no one's looking to them as like, oh, you did the right thing. You voted out your ally. They see it as, oh, you saw the votes weren't there, so you just wanted to be in the majority. Mm-hmm. No one sees this as they were ready to drop Tommy. That's not what they see this as.
Right. And maybe we can talk more about it later, just like how exactly Abby and Daniel can get out of this hole. And I don't see a lot of ways, especially for Abby more than Daniel, because Daniel at least does have Courtney and Jabbar that are like, for better or for worse, like we still like are going to give you information and tell you things and work with you. But I don't know how they ultimately like dig out of this.
I don't see a path for Abby at all. Like, we're reaching a point now where there are winner contenders and there are people who are just in the house either by their own volition or just cannot win this game, and that's because of just the circumstances in the house. Lance is someone who I do not think can win this game, and that's just because of his newbie status to orgs. I think he can be a great player. It's just your first time is never... It's not always a good one. There are people who prove otherwise, Kieran and Nine. Like, there's sometimes being your first org, it's just not to your benefit. And there's people like Abby who I think just got herself in such a bad position and never really tried to make the relationships in the early parts of the game because she was so reliant on the plague doctors, which were never a thing. And she kind of is, what is it, up the stream without a whatever.
Without a paddle, yeah.
Yeah, like no one wants her around. But there are people who want Daniel around. That he's got Courtney, he's got Jabbar, and then Angelica and Erica want to pull him in just for the short term to get rid of Ron Bar. And after that, then he'll go. But there's a path for Daniel to get a little bit further, and then he's gonna have to win some comps. But he's proven it. I mean, 2 weeks in a row, he's won the power veto. Basically. I would say the first time around was to definitely save himself. The second time, he didn't really need it as much. But you never know in this game.
I mean, Daniel's in contention today, for sure.
Absolutely.
He's in contention. The problem is, will he do the right thing with it if he wins? And I don't trust him to do that. Maybe he just like takes out a Lance or an AJ, and then that's fine. But I don't love Daniel's perspective on his maybe he knows his position better after the Tommy debacle, like he might. So I'd be curious to see what a Daniel HOH would do. I've already made it clear that I don't want Lance to win HOH today, and we can talk about that later when we look forward. Mm-hmm. I'd much rather see Daniel win HOH today because I'm curious to see how he'd handle it. But anyway, lots of other things to talk about from yesterday.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, if you want to talk about more reasons why Abby and Daniel are in the position that they are, they continue to lie about where the votes are leading up to this eviction. Especially Daniel, who knows about the Men's Are Trash Alliance, knows that there's a 4 females and 1 non-binary in an alliance, basically that can control the vote of where this goes. And he continues to go around and tell people like Jabbar that, oh, Robert and Erica, yeah, they're flipping. Abby continues to tell people like, oh, the votes, Tommy's staying. And it takes 3 minutes for people to be like, hey, are you voting? Which way are you voting? And they're like, oh, yeah, no, I'm voting Tommy out. And immediately they go, oh, so they're just trying to cause paranoia for no reason. They're trying to be like, oh, you want to vote with the house? Oh, well, the house is saving Tommy. And they're just digging a deeper and deeper grave for themselves. Because if you're going to lie about something as stupid as this, what can you be trusted to say?
Right.
Like, we're really reaching that point, and I just don't understand the need to do this. Mm-hmm. For Tommy! No offense, Tommy.
Yeah.
Like, great ally, but Jesus Christ. This was the top 13 vote. This is a little unnecessary this early, but, call me crazy.
I have more to say about Tommy, but we can talk about it when we get to the vote.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah. ultimately, like, there's a lot of paranoia going on because of Daniel and Abby kind of telling people like, oh, the vote's flipping, and people are like, what the hell's going on? So ultimately, Men's Our Trash gets on the call, which is Courtney, Danielle, who's the HOH, Angelica, Erica, and Robert. They call and ultimately just lock up the votes against Tommy. They all agree Tommy's got to go. Everyone really thinks that Tommy had very convincing speeches. Like, this has nothing to like. Tommy had very convincing speeches all day and the day before, but ultimately, his lack of consistency, his existing connections to Daniel and Abby, and his threat level were just ultimately too much to overlook, and that's why he gets sent out unanimously. Pretty much, they tell Daniel and Abby like, "Hey, the votes aren't there," and they ultimately decide to vote in the majority. And that's where we see Tommy go at 9-0. So let's talk more about Tommy.
Yeah. First of all, I think Tommy is fantastic. I ran to his diary room after he got evicted to tell him that I was his biggest fan, because I am, and I think that he was just so fun to watch, and he brought it. Like, for better for worse, like, he was out there on the field giving his heart out, by playing his heart out, like doing everything he could think to do. In this last stretch, it was a little bit throw it at the wall, see what sticks in terms of some of the lies. But there were moments, like we said, one of two things were going to happen yesterday. Either the vote was going to flip and Tommy was going to be saved, or it was going to be a unanimous decision. So, Tommy, if you hear this, don't hear the unanimous vote as you weren't even close. It wasn't even like, it was, you had no shot. That's not the case. Because if it was going to flip, it was going to flip, and if not, it had to go the whole other way, and that's what happened yesterday. I think Tommy is maybe not the greatest player in this game, but I think he has potential to be a really great player. I'd love to see him play again. I'd love to see what he could bring in a second opportunity, or in another game that's not BBH, whatever it may be. I think he's a great character, great confessional giver. We take a big hit in the narrative from losing Tommy here, but I will say that I am very happy that we finally shut the book on the stupid block of vote story from round one. I am glad that is over and done with, because it was the most unnecessary story that tanked someone's game, maybe in the history of BBH, because it really was such, like, Tommy does get bit by some unnecessary lying or whatever, but I'm glad that storyline is done, and it will live in the pre-jury forever.
You gotta. I mean, and we'll get to it. When one door closes, a new mess opens, and we'll get to Angelica's mess that she created for herself on day 12.
Oh, she did.
Oh, she done did. Someone I want to talk about who has an interesting day, to say the least, is Ryan R.T. Taylor. I mean, I have to go on record. I told him I would fix what we said about him in the mess report.
How does he know what you said about him in the mess report?
We asked him in his live confessional, hey, like, what did you mean by what you said in this moment? And then he said, oh, no. There was a reason why I said it to this person, but we had talked about it on the mess report.
Okay.
So, I mean, I didn't tell him that. I was like, hey,
gotcha.
But I was like, I need to fix it for the fans who are watching. So in the Discord, we told everybody that Ryan had told Angelica, when the jury starts, he's going to go ballistic. And he said those words. Those are true words. But he wants to clear his name, and he said he only told that to Angelica so she would keep him. In case he ever got in danger anytime soon, she would keep him because he is a liability, like, just for himself. He's not going ballistic. He is gonna, he wants to win. He finally, and I think people have seen this from the cast assessment till now, have really realized this is not the Ryan that we expected, they expected, really anybody expected. And it's taken Ryan a couple days in the game. He goes, I can win this. I don't necessarily believe that to be true, but he thinks he can, and that's all that matters. And he's starting to play this game differently. So he tells that to Angelica to get some longevity out of her. He also has clocked Robert as someone who is playing every side, which he is. He's the second person now to clock Robert as a social player, because and this is a thing that social players have to be careful of. This is what got me in trouble in my last game, is when you're so social and you are charismatic, a lot of people go around being like, oh, I like this person. When everybody says that, oh, I like this person, it's immediately to clock you as like, oh, you're a really good social player, and that's Robert in this game. Is everyone goes around talking about how much they love Robert, and Ryan's clock. That's why Ryan has been playing so under the radar. He's like, I don't want people going around saying, oh, I love Ryan, oh, I love Ryan, because he's like, that's how I get myself in danger. So he's thinking ahead. But the thing I want to talk about Ryan, which I think is very interesting, is as soon as he finds out about Tommy's plan to target Ryan if he stays, he goes on a loyalty test. He goes around asking every single person in this game, what does Tommy pitch to you? He wants to see, will they tell me the truth that Tommy is after me? And everyone tells him the truth except for Jack and Abby. Abby, whatever. Like, are we shocked? No. Jack is the shocking one, because that was if you watch Ryan's live confessional from day 12 earlier that day, that was the person Ryan liked the most in the house. So for Jack to lie about this to Ryan really soured that relationship, and that's going to be intriguing to see where Ryan kind of reshuffles his cards and where his new loyalties lie, because that was bad. What would you do in that situation, Josh, if someone's coming to you asking about what someone said and you're unsure of if they know if this is a test or if they're just genuinely curious?
If my name was Alex Day, which it's not, but if my name was Alex Day, I envision him confronting and saying, "Oh, interesting. Well," and in his Alex way, "Well, I heard that Robert's actually coming after me. Did you not hear that, Jack? Jack, did you not hear that?" Like that's Alex. If it's me, I wish I could say I had that kind of gumption to like call it out. I don't know, especially if it was someone I felt good with. I think it would just be frustrating. I would like to say I'd call them out. I'd like to say that, you know, we'd have that conversation. But it damages trust, and trust is fragile. Trust currency in this game is so fragile, and it does not take much to lose it. And regardless of if Ryan were to call Jack out or confront him about it or all these things, once the trust is kind of lost, it takes a whole lot more to get it back than it does to lose it. And that's the unfortunate thing about Jack. The problem here is that Jack is not much of a first string character here, in the season, and therefore Ryan could really use someone like Jack, and Ryan may just have to push that aside for now, and maybe Ryan goes digging for new information and maybe tries to think like, oh, is Jack in something? Why is he protecting Robert here? What is all this? What is all that? And I think if he does that research, maybe he'll come up realizing, I don't know why Jack did this, but I'm just going to have to get over it and try and still cultivate this relationship and build this trust with Jack, at least on my end, and hope that he's not in a position to take me out and I can just use him. So I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you can go about it.
Yeah. And it'll be intriguing to see where ultimately Ryan falls on him, because he was very high on Jack, and he's one of the few people that are high on Jack. I mean, you've got Ryan, Abby, and Daniel want to bring him in, which if Jack is smart, that is not a ship I would want to be on. This is a ship that has already hit the iceberg. It is very, very much sinking, and I would not want to be a part of it. So Jack's an interesting character to follow. I mean, plugging my Edgic for those in our Discord. Please, if you are not in the Discord, if you're watching this for the first time being like, what the hell is this? We do this every day at 10:30 Eastern for our viewing lounge in our Discord. So if you're intrigued to get more daily updates and just get more tea on just what's happening inside the house outside of our once a week mess reports, join the Discord, message anyone in production, and we'll add you. Jack's been under the radar almost every day in my Edgic. There's been, I think, 2 days where I've been like, you know what, he had a bigger influence on the day. But yeah, he continues to not be a major character. And one of the only people who was willing to bring him into the fold, Ryan, he kind of... And Jack has no clue that he burned Ryan in that sense. He has no clue that this is a test. And he's putting in... Jack just has his loyalty in the wrong places. He likes Abby and Daniel, which is a bad choice right now. He likes AJ, and AJ is willing to discard him. They're just, I don't know, not it.
Yeah,
not it from Jack. Let's get into alliances. We've got a new alliance. Hello, hi, how are you? Which is an alliance that should have been made I believe, on day 6. But here we are finally making it on day 12, and that is of Angelica, Erica, and AJ, which is an interesting alliance. Because AJ AJ has his moments of where he's really in the game and then really not in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is a good play on his part. Like, he goes under the radar when he needs to be, and when he's around, he makes the most of it and really influences the game. Versus Angelica and Erica, who are always in the game, always influencing it, always in control. So it's an intriguing combination. I think it's more beneficial to Angelica and Erica than it is to AJ, in my particular opinion. But
hey, at least AJ's finally in a group.
Finally in a group, which only leaves Jack and Lance, and I guess now Abby.
Yeah.
I mean, if we still want to count the Plague Doctors as an alliance, Abby now falls with Jack and Lance as no longer in a formally named real alliance. I would say the same thing about Ryan, because Table for 3 is a dead chat. That's a chat between Angelica, Robert, and Ryan. Angelica and Robert have grown very sus of Ryan. There's no talk in that chat. That chat has been downgraded to low, soon to be deleted.
Yeah.
From our alliance graphic that Crystal does. Again, plug for the Discord. We got so much. If you're not in the Discord, what are you doing? What are you doing? And then the other alliance that's downgraded is Hocus Pocus. That is the alliance between Angelica, Erica, and Courtney. That is downgraded to low status as well. Courtney is just not sitting well with Angelica and Erica. They find her to be very game body. And it's hard because when you have such charismatic people like Angelica and Erica who care so much about the game and the emotional side of everything, and then you get to Courtney, who still cares about the emotional side of things, but not as much. So when after Angelica goes on a call with Erica and then goes on a call with Courtney, it's a drastic difference, and Angelica doesn't like that feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, I don't know if I like Courtney as much as I used to. That coupled with Courtney's clear allegiance to Daniel has gotten her into a position where Courtney is looking at like a 9th, 8th place boot if Angelica or Erica has anything to say about it.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for Courtney to really kick in high gear and better her position. But as that stock drops, maybe not rapidly, but consistently, I don't know. I don't know what the path is for her to the end, and I don't think she's still in danger for a round or two. But I don't know how Courtney gets to the end at this point.
Yeah, it's going to be she's going to need things to fall her way with the right HOH at the right time. She's going to need people like Daniel, people like Jabbar to continue to win. And right now, Jabbar ain't doing that. Daniel is consistently winning. So that definitely could be her way in. But obviously, do people look at that as Daniel did that, or did you do that? Like, sometimes are you the beneficiary of other people's actions, and at what point do people stop attributing that to you? So That'll be intriguing. The next person I want to talk about, and this is the over-the-top queen. This is Angelica. We got to get into Angelica's mess.
Yeah.
She starts off the day strong. She clocks Jabbar as being a very messy and mouthy person to everybody. She initially told something to Jabbar that was very personal, and within seconds, she calls Ryan because she promised to call with Ryan, and Ryan already knows about the thing that she told Jabbar. And this is like by the time it took her to drive 2 blocks, and Jabbar's already leaked it. Yes, it's personal, it has nothing to do with the game, but hello, that's not good.
Yeah.
And it's already reaffirming her suspicions that Jabbar and RT are final 2s, which is not true at all. But, a target is a target, and Angelica and Erica will spin that story as long as they can. So what do you make of that poor decision? Both on Ryan and Jabbar's part for that.
Yeah, just
Ryan
bad.
Exposed it.
I don't think it's bad for Ryan. I think, I don't think it's necessarily bad for Ryan because it's not his fault that he was told something. And you're in conversation and Angelica says, oh, this is going on, whatever. And Ryan's just like, oh yeah, Jabbar told me about that. It's those little things. Ryan's not at fault here. It's all Jabbar. It's all Jabbar for being sometimes just a little too messy. He often, and we've talked about it, we've praised him for it, has been very good messy. But every once in a while, it's just like one too many things, or you say just one too many bits of information, and that's and with someone like Angelica, not always the person that you want to do that to.
I mean, I'll shit on Ryan for it. I mean, if someone calls me and I mean, Angelica starts off the call being like, "I'm having a bad day," and Ryan goes, "Oh yeah, I heard about blah 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 blah." I would not say that, Ryan. I'd let her explain why she's having a bad day because you immediately expose that someone had already told you this, and he didn't know that Jabbar had found that out literally 20 seconds ago.
Right.
But still, like Ryan, I wouldn't have done that. But
Fair.
go off, King. Go off, King. But let's talk about Angelica. I mean, first we kind of have to start off with what's the HOH. I mean, it's one of the most grueling things I think we've ever put these contestants through. Not because it truly is grueling at the end of the day. It's because they're choosing for it to be grueling. Because they're too competitive and they're not seeing the forest or the trees of this competition. So how this competition works, it's called the BBH Arcade. It's finally making sense. It's a full circle moment for why the hell we did it. That. So basically what's happening is there are 12 machines in the BBH Arcade, and they've been sent a schedule as to how many machines will turn on. Once they are turned on, they are able to compete on those machines and constantly send in scores to a public leaderboard. And they are also sent a schedule as to how many machines are closing at a certain time. Once a machine closes, it's done forever. However, the schedule does not specify which machines are closing. They just know how many are opening and how many are closing. So you have to be smart with where you allocate your time, because if you don't allocate it to machine, in this case, I think machine six was logged off at like 1 a.m. last night. So for some people who didn't even get to attempt machine 6, it's on them, because I mean they had like a 3-hour window to do it and it closed before they even attempted it. So no attempt to earn points. The top point getter will get 3 points, second will get 2, and then third place will get 1. After all 12 machines close, we will have our podium finishers based on the cumulative points that they've earned. So, I mean, screenshots are involved in terms of scores, and poor Angelica, I don't know what she was thinking. She took a screenshot of her entire screen rather than just the window, and she exposes her Skype chats, including a cute little alliance called Men Are Trash.
Yeah, whoops.
Daniel, Jabbar, Courtney, and Jack all see it, and I imagine it will be a big talking point today. Angelica rightfully spirals about it. Let's talk about what would be going through your head, and what would you be trying to do to downplay what the hell just happened?
To me, this is a really easy fix. It's a really, really, really easy fix. Now, granted, nothing's easy, but I think the if you do one of two things, you own it and say, yeah, it's a group. Probably what you don't want to do. That's not your first plan. Or here's the beauty of it: the screenshot itself had Danielle's bubble in it. So like it said, Men Are Trash, and you could see that Danielle is a part of this group. All you have to do, and I looked at the rest of them. None of the other group messages, all the rest of them are one-on-ones of their her diary room or whatever. So all you have to do is say that that's your one-on-one chat with Danielle. That's it. That fixes it. You tell Danielle, hey, this happened. I mean, but I don't think Angelica has done that. I think, and maybe it's too late to unring that bell. But that's what I would have done. Is tried to play that off as my one-on-one with Danielle. And people can believe that or not believe it. Maybe exactly. Some do, some don't. But the cat's out of the bag here. That there is a group called Men Are Trash, and that's the reality of the situation.
Yeah, and like Angelica spirals. Like, I mean, Courtney gets on call with her and tells her, like, hey, who is in the bubble? Like, that can be your one-on-one chat. Courtney literally tells her how to fix this. But Angelica, I mean, has had a bad day on personal things, game things. So this is just not ideal for her. And I mean, she can't even like think logically at this point. She just loses it. She apologizes to the entire alliance. She's like, I fucked it up. Rather than like sitting back and thinking like, how can I fix this? It also doesn't help that she's warned that's been exposed in a screenshot, not only by production. Like, we let her know, like, hey, gal, you might want to delete that and recrop that. Jabbar DMs her, being like, hey, gal, want to be careful what you screenshot, love. Yeah. And he's not in the alliance. So, like, that's really what really not ticked her up, but really sent her into the tizzy that she went in, because it's like, oh fuck, Jabbar definitely has seen it. It's one thing for us to have notified her, being like, hey, be careful. It's one thing for someone outside the alliance to notify you of that, and I think that's really what is worrying her, because she's been playing such a great game so far. She knows it, and I think she's so worried about this being her downfall out of nowhere. And I mean, if it is, it is.
It's one of those things, like, if I'm a player in the game, and I have been a player in a game, you know that there's other groups. Like, you know it. But it's different when you know it. When it's exposed, that's when it's different. And then all of a sudden it becomes more serious, which is kind of silly. But at the same time, like, I get it. Like, oh, now you know it. And that is, in this game, you know, give an inch and people are going to take 20, 40, 50, 60 miles out of it. And this is an inch of, hey, there's another group. Oh, you know, on the surface, yeah, of course there is. Yeah, that's the game we're playing. But no. People are going to take it and run with it. So I'm curious to see how that's going to play out today.
Hold on, I'm the little inlets. Let me just say, this cast needs to understand how to play some of these classic games. I just had to explain Abby how to play Frogger. These are things that are easily Googleable as well. Googleable. You can research these things on the internet, on the interwebs. This entire cast learned how to play Minesweeper the other day. So, I mean, I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
This comp has truly, I mean, on so many levels. One, they've all shut the fuck up, which makes my life real easy at night. So I don't have to catch up on a million messages in the morning to have this ready for y'all. And these people are stressed because these people are not seeing the forest or the trees. They are, and they finally have realized. I think it took Daniel ends up placing twice on the same machine. I think it's Galaga is what he ends up placing twice on, and people are like, "Oh, you can place twice on the leaderboard." I'm like, "Do I type out instructions for no goddamn
or not?" Yeah, they didn't read. They did not read them.
No,
they clearly did not read them.
Clearly not. And once they realized that, then they finally have seen, oh, I should just be focusing my time on the games I'm good at rather than trying to place on all of the games.
Duh.
Like these people are like, oh my god, the machines are closing so quickly. Like, how am I supposed to work on all of them? And I'm sitting back, I'm like, you're not supposed to. The whole point is that there's so many games that you realize that trying to do all of them is not the correct strategy. Focus on the ones you're good at. These people are spending hours trying to fucking get up to like a score of 20 on Frogger when the highest score is like 3,600. It's like, no, stop it. Cut your losses. Focus on something. That's what Erica did. Erica's like, Tetris? I think the fuck not. And moved the fuck right on.
Yeah, because if you play, that's 3, 5, 6 points up for grabs on a given machine, and I really do think it took for Daniel to come in second and third place, I think it was, and score and grab 3 points on one machine. It's like, oh wait, yeah, I love that Tay said this. She said, OMG, I love Tetris. I was just thinking, Jenny was playing Tetris the other day. If Jenny was doing this, she would spend all her time at the Tetris machine because she loves Tetris. But anyway, yeah, I mean, it takes, and the other part of the strategy that I think that I was thinking more about was the schedule and the time of it all. I think people had to realize that maybe they could play until midnight last night. If they wanted to go all the way to 2 a.m., they could, but then they could go to sleep. And because, there's not another thing closing until noon today, correct?
Correct.
And then things will close every hour on the hour until 6 o'clock tonight. So they had a little bit of essentially a break in there. They could sleep and they could wake up, whatever, 8, 9 o'clock this morning and play for an hour or two or whatever. It's also about, keeping yourself from going insane. I like this. In the past, and we may do it again, but I like this. In the past, it's just been like, here's Planes Control BBH 13. Play it for the next 24 hours. See ya in 24 hours. And you want to throw your phone against the wall when you're done with that 24 hours. Here, they still are going to want to throw their phones against the wall after the 24 hours, but at least they got to do some different things. And if they play it well, if they pace themselves and think about these strategies, they can come out of this not feeling exhausted, or half of them will give up when they realize that they can't win.
Yeah, and that's going to be what's fun about today. So, I mean, if you're not in the Discord, get in the freaking Discord. Is seeing as the machines close and as scores get updated and the leaderboard starts forming, who starts to just, they're like, you know what, fuck it, I'm done competing. Let me just start bartering with the HOH. Because we've got 3 front runners, and I don't foresee the leaderboard super changing. The other person that could pop up in there is Robert. Yeah, Robert's killing me. Robert,
yeah,
who does not want to win
Yeah.
HOH, is up till 4 a.m. competing and sending in real, like, I think he's in the lead. I think he has all the Tetris points right now. I believe he is leading in pinball. Love, and he's leading in Bejeweled. I need you to breathe.
right.
Currently, I think the top 4 players for this comp absolutely will be Lands, who currently is leading by a good chunk of points right now. Daniel and AJ are currently tied for second, but AJ is winning the tiebreaker. And then Robert, I think, will acquire a lot of points today as well. So those are kind of the 4 front runners for this competition. I don't see anybody else kind of popping in there unless they learn how to play video games today. Because if last night's an indication as to who's going to be good at this game, it's those 4. So I'm intrigued to see if people just start seeing a leaderboard forming and go, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to go barter with these people and barter for my life because I'm not going to place in the safety spot or in the HOH spot. Do you think that's the right strategy here moving forward into the day as we, start to move into our 5th machine closing in about 43 minutes?
Yeah, if you're not going to win, then at least you know it and you can work on it throughout the day, and the benefit of knowing kind of who's in that circle of people that could be HOH. That's different than usual. Usually no one knows anything until we drop the results. That kind of helps as well. You can get in there and start getting to work on. And the other thing is, this is a short cycle because we have today and then tomorrow, and we're evicting someone tomorrow night at Live Night, 7:30 live on the Facebook page. And everyone come watch. It's gonna be a lot of fun. But things are gonna move quickly. So time is money now, and these people are gonna have to stop lollygagging around waiting for results because the results are being posted as the day goes on. Like there's no waiting for results. Results are live at every moment. And if you're someone that's out of it and you know you're out of it, you can do a couple things. You can go to the people that you think are in power and start, making your pitches, talking strategy, whatever it may be. And the other thing is, if a machine opens up that is a game that you might be good at, all the machines are open now, aren't they?
They're all open.
They're all open now. You can go to some of the machines that are still open that you might be good at, and try and start playing spoiler, and try and maybe think, oh, I can maybe, because you're never, maybe you're out of the running for HOH, but you're not out of the running to maybe knock Daniel out of a spot to be HOH or whatever it may be. It's kind of like right now in baseball, we're in the last 2 months of the season, and you have teams like, wow, I'm going to put myself in a spiral, but you have teams like the Marlins who are in last place, have nothing to play for, but except for their own pride, and make it harder on teams like the Mets who are in first place to make the playoffs, and they just play spoiler, and they take 3 out of 4 from us in Miami, and then I'm depressed. But anyway, a lot of times down the stretch of baseball, you'll hear the phrase of like they're going to try and play spoiler this weekend. And that's what some people can do. They can try and spoil other people's chance at HOH.
Absolutely. And Robert's the first person to clock this. Robert last night was like, I don't want to win, but what I want to do is I want to do well on the machines that Daniel's also doing well in. I want to eliminate any chances of him being HOH or in safety. And that's what makes this game so good, is because there's so many elements to this game. You've got the how bad do you want it, you having to post your scores publicly so people know what machines you're gunning for, where the scores are at, kind of they can figure out who's in the lead. There are so many elements to this game, and we haven't even seen, we've only seen the tip of the iceberg of what this game can provide. And we're about to, the next, my God, math is hard for me, 6.5 hours, we're about to figure out, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 6.5 hours. We're going to see, people really game the hell out of this. And this podium is going to be interesting. The podium twist has always delivered every round, with Tommy's failed block a vote, and then the first and the next rounds have all been people who would have been targeted getting safety. So I pray and hope the podium twist continues to deliver. But if Lance, who is the favorite to win this, HOH is to take it home. He has already said that Abby will be on the block. We will be seeing Abby there. And he doesn't want to put up Daniel because he likes him, but I feel like he'll end up putting up Daniel. And that's where we'll end up if Lane does. Because he's winning. He's in the lead. It's 11 to 6. He has got currently first and third on Frogger, which is the machine closing in 39 minutes. He is leading Duck Hunt. It's Lane's game to lose.
So I'm probably one of the only people in the BBH world right now that doesn't want Lance to win HOH today, outside of maybe players in the game, obviously. But like, I just don't want it for so many reasons. One, because like Lance is not in a great position, and he is not. I don't care what you think. He is not going to use this HOH to better his position. He's going to use this HOH to take Abby out. Woohoo for Lance. Woohoo. Good job, Lance. You got Abby out, who everyone else already wants out. Like, good for you. Like, it's not going to benefit his game. And we're at one of the most heartbreaking spots in the whole season, the final pre-juror. Let's take Abby out, someone that we'd all love to see fight for herself in the jury. Whether she wins or loses, she'll probably lose. That's fine. Like, let's have her leave. Let's have her leave in the final pre-jury spot. Fine. Daniel, same thing. Let's have him leave in the final pre-jury spot. Yeah, I've been really low on Daniel's game. If Daniel goes home in one of the last 2 rounds, I would feel good about it. But now we're at this spot where it's like, we're in the. You want the best jury possible, and Lands winning this final HOH takes out someone that I would rather see go in Lands. And I've enjoyed the Lands experience as much as the next guy, and I hope to see Lands play another long form, or maybe even BBH. I'm not even opposed to that. But I don't want him in power here because he's just gonna go around and be oblivious about it. Okay, that's mean. That's mean. That's mean. He's just gonna go around not knowing what to do with it because he doesn't see the picture. He doesn't see his position. He sees things on the surface level, like the whole gender warfare conversation. Like, that's not yeah, it's happening a little bit, but it's also not really the game that's happening. He doesn't see his position. Strategy. Like, are we gonna see strategy from Lands? Like. I have a hard time believing we're going to see strategy from Lands. Is it Team TV? No, it's not Team TV. Do you know what Team TV is? Abby winning HOH today. Daniel winning HOH today. Someone that's on the bottom and knows it winning HOH today. That's Team TV. Maybe Angelica winning HOH today after the mess she created for herself. That's Team TV. Do you know what Lance winning HOH today is? It's Team Boring. It's fun. It'll be fun because we'll be like, ooh, how is Lance going to go about doing this? But in terms of the result that we're going to get, it's not going to be interesting. It will not be interesting. This is the most interesting outcome.
That's what I'm hoping for.
This is the most interesting outcome we can hope for from a Lance HOH, is that Daniel or Abby places on the podium. Abby probably won't.
No.
So that's what I feel about it. Hashtag Team Boring. And it's not because Lance isn't playing hard or I dislike Lance or all that yada yada. It's that I just don't think he sees this game for what it really is. He just sees it for what it is. Like, it's just some people playing a game, Oh, that person went home. Oh, that person went home. I don't need a Lance HOH in the final pre-juror spot for entertainment. I don't. There's so many more entertaining and strategic options that we're going to get. And I think that the strategy is going to be so poor that it's not worth seeing how Lance goes around the house asking, oh, how do you feel about me being HOH? I don't need that. I don't need it.
Oh my god. I mean, I'm not a Land stan. I'm not one of the Land stans in our Discord. But I mean, I guess I agree with Josh. I guess I'll be on team everyone hates me. But I'm in the same boat. I mean, I feel the same way about Daniel winning HOH or Abby. I don't feel like they see the forest for the trees either.
Yeah, that's true. Because I think they have a better chance of getting there after what happened with Tommy, but I still think that if Daniel or Abby wins HOH, oh, whoop-de-doo, AJ and Lance go on the block. And that's not super exciting either for all the same reasons as before. I just think that there's a better chance that maybe they could get there. But yeah, I mean, it's not going to happen, but Angelica's a fun option. Jabbar's a fun option. Robert's a fun option. These people that are, perceived, and even in some reality on the top, they're playing so much and the game's so messy that the power structure shifts with every HOH.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, is there anything else you want to talk about? I mean, we've covered the day and kind of looking forward to what shenanigans will happen today. I mean, anything else you want to plug? I mean, we got plenty of things to plug.
Yeah, there's plenty of things to plug. Mainly a couple things. I have had an idea in the back of my head that I would really like to maybe tomorrow night after live night, maybe host a game of the weakest link for fun. Just anyone that wants to play. Maybe we do that. So if you're interested in doing that, either comment, run to the Discord, DM me. I might post something about it later. We'll see if that ends up happening. But live night tomorrow night. That's the headliner. Tomorrow night, 7:30. We will evict the final pre-juror at the top of live night. Then we will go right into a full round of the game. Those of you that played last season or watched last season saw us do this. It's going to be very similar. The HOH competition for live night is touchy subjects this time instead of the knockout trivia competition, which I think they're both good. I think either one's going to be fun, but I think touchy subjects in this spot is going to be fun to watch. Then we'll run the veto. We'll evict our first juror, and then really we're going to begin the 2-week sprint to finale night. So that's that. If we've said it a million times, if you haven't checked out the Discord, come on over there. You're missing out on a lot. Once you kind of get your bearings on how Discord works, if you're new like I was, it is so cool, and there's so many things you can do. I'm just under the assumption that Discord can do anything, and one of the fun things we've been doing lately is with the players' consent, of course. Streaming some of their calls in important spots in the game. So a veto just got one. Ooh, let's see what the veto winner. Who's the veto winner talking to? Let's listen to them talk. It's as close to having live feeds as we can get. So head on over there or hit us up. Hit anyone on production up, and we'll get you situated. Subscribe to us on YouTube. I do want to plug BigBrotherHometowns.store. Let me pull something up real quick while I'm here. You can obviously get some merchandise there, but one new piece of merchandise that I want to... let me just go to the website, BigBrotherHometowns.store. I was trying to make this way more complicated on myself than it needed to be. Where'd it go? Aha, okay. Fun thing. I thought this would be a fun thing. You don't have to go buy this, but you can. Yesterday... we dropped a new piece of merch that hopefully is not going to get me in trouble. And it's the BBH Arcade tee. So go to BigBrotherHometowns.store and buy a Big Brother Hometowns Arcade t-shirt. Oh, wait. No, wait. Okay, so yeah, you can do that. Anyway, but go to BigBrotherHometowns.store. Check out all of our fun merch. That is a really... it's more than just we want you to have cool stuff. It is financially helping us. There is some money involved in the production of Big Brother Hometowns from some of the things we do, like StreamYard and stuff, but also in the money that's going to charity, in the money that's going towards the players' prizes, and all kinds of things that we deem necessary. A Zoom account, just little things here and there. So if you want to support Big Brother Hometowns as well as have some cool merchandise, like my sweatshirt right here, you can do that. And then I'll just plug this. You can subscribe to us on YouTube. At a certain point, right now our YouTube channel is like youtube.com/ a bunch of gibberish. I think Dan had noted that at a certain point, I don't know if it's 100 subscribers or maybe it's 1,000 subscribers, but we can work our way there one way or the other. We can have an actual a similar kind of URL to our YouTube, like youtube.com/BigBrotherHometowns. We would love to be able to do that. So go over there, subscribe. If you're watching now, it's right there. Hit the subscribe button. I'm not going to be that YouTuber. But
click the bell for notifications.
Yeah, all that stuff. But I think that's all I have to plug. Come watch Live Night tomorrow. It's gonna be fun.
Absolutely. Come watch Live Night. It's gonna be a fun one. We'll have the Zoom being streamed and then a separate commentary stream for the down parts of. So when everyone else is strategizing and yet we can't really give you, you can't watch it on the Zoom. We'll have the commentary links. It'll be a fun time, especially for those from 13 who were the guinea pigs for this Live Night. We're gonna have a hopefully a more well streamed one. Not to say that the other one wasn't well streamlined, but we're gonna do it even better. So tune in for that. But for BBH and stuff, Josh Consalvo, for me, CLC, that's all the tea today. I'll see y'all back at 10:30. And until then, stay thirsty, my friends. Bye.